Hello, I'm Kath. There's been a real resurgence lately in this lockdown period of people finding crafts to do, either starting something from new or maybe going back to something they loved doing in the past. So this is a short video, a how-to for basic crochet skills. So I'll just be starting off with explaining what sort of hooks are available and the best type of yarn to start as a beginner, because this is aimed at absolute beginners. And I'll go through how to do a basic crochet chain. And the basic crochet chain is often the starting point for most of your crochet projects. As we go on, I'll show you some of the other things that you can do once your skills develop, and also maybe some of the pitfalls as a learner and how to get around these. So let's begin. So to hooks then. So it doesn't really matter what size hooks and yarn you use, just to have a little practice. Although I wouldn't suggest using some of the really fine steel hooks and thin cotton. I think the best perhaps would be a 4mm hook or 5mm hook and something like a double knit or an Aran yarn. There's lots of different types of crochet hooks, and it's really about preference. Some of them are, my first one for example was this very usual, just a standard size 8 or a 4mm metal hook, and then sometimes you might be better off with a more ergonomically designed hook with this sort of handle, see? Again, these are all 4s, they're just different types. This is a nice light bamboo one. Another ergonomically comfier to hold type there. And my favourite is my special one there, which is a birch wood one with lots of fancy bits and bobs, but yeah, it's absolutely fine. So I'm going to start with this. Now, it's not so much the anatomy of the hook, but how to look at what helps so that you know the parts of it. So you've got the head there, which is the actual size. You've got the neck, the shaft of the hook, and some of them have got a indent here where you can put your fingers. That again depends on how you want to hold your hook. It's a little bit like how you hold your, do you hold your knife like this, or a bit chopsticky, or some people prefer to hold it much firmer like that. I personally, and again it's preference, prefer to hold it. I find I've got more control of it, and perhaps I'm a bit more, have a bit more dexterity doing that. And so the next step in the next little clip will be starting off the slip knot and a few basic chain. Once you've got your hook and a bit of scrap yarn, we can practice making the chains. The first part of that is to make a slip knot. Now you may well have already learned how to do slip knots if you've ever been in the uniformed organisations or similar, but right from the scratch, this is a slip knot, and this is what goes onto your hook to make the very first chain loop. So the yarn here is going to be what I refer to as your working end. You take your yarn, twist it to make a loop, pass the yarn from the working end through and pull. Now it's called a slip knot because, as you see, once you do that, oh look, magic, it's gone. But if we do that again, make a loop, pass the yarn from the working end through and pull, and then I'm going to get my hook, and if you pop the yarn loop onto your hook and pull the yarn from the ball end or the working end you'll find it tightens and just binds up against your hook like so. And the next important thing is to learn how to tension the yarn. So we'll do that next. Tensioning the yarn is all about getting that really nice, consistent, well-spaced and well-sized stitch. It also means that you're not working with the yarn that's flopping about, making it difficult to use. If you've knitted in the past, you'll be familiar with using the fingers to wrap the yarn around to get a good tension. And I'm right-handed, so I'm showing you with my left hand how I tension the yarn. For me, I have to think about this because I automatically do it, so I just wrap it round my little finger to begin with, and then loop it over the first finger, and then just hold it down with the remaining fingers. It does sound complicated, but you'll find your own way of doing it. What you don't want is for this bit here to be just all over the place. You want to have you want to be able to have some real good dexterous control over it, a little bit like using chopsticks. Probably a bad suggestion that, because I can't use them very well, but anyway. So, take your hook, you're going to go under the yarn off your finger. I'll show you again. So, take your hook, go under. Now you need to pinch just to steady it here, because you're going to next pull this yarn through and make a loop. So we'll do it again. Go under the yarn, hold the bottom a little bit, and through. So we've now got 2 chain there. I'll show you perhaps a little bit better in a moment. So I'm going to do 1 or 2 of those, and we'll come back in a moment. So I'm doing 1 or 2 more chain to show you. Hopefully you'll be able to see they're quite even, and that again is due to, well, for the fact I've been crocheting for 7 years really. I was first shown when I was 5 by my great auntie, and then I took over knitting. I preferred knitting for a while, and a long time after that I thought I'll have a go at crochet, and got frustrated by it a few times and decided it perhaps wasn't for me. Used a well-known video channel and found that there were some very good tips and hints and how-to guides on there. So do have a look for those if you're struggling as well, because the beauty of those is that you can pause and carry on. And I have to say that crochet for me is easier than knitting for a really silly reason, in as much as it's easier to pull back when you've gone wrong with crochet than it is knitting. We've got a nice, hope you can see, a nice even load of chains there. That's the back, and that's the front. So that's the smooth side there. So that's our very basic foundation for not all but most crochet projects. Crafts, and in particular crochet for me, really focuses my mind on other things. And what better time than at the moment to be able to have something that can do that. Now, there are cost implications once you get to the point that you want to buy this wonderful yarn that's available. But if you've just got scraps of yarn and something just to have a go at, why not give it a go and see what you can come up with? Well, before I go, I'm just going to show you some bits and pieces that I've made over a few years really. I've got this little bolero on here that just knots at the front. So draped over the back of the sofa is a throw, and it started off as a wrap, but was a rather large wrap, so it is now a throw. And here is a minion hat. This is a really simple, but it grows really quickly, and I think that's another reason I like crochet. It does grow rather quickly. It's just a neck, well, it's what's it, a scarf or a snood or a cowl or whatever you want to wear it. This is when you get to experiment with lovely yarn, and this is a jasmine flower stitch, and it's an ear warmer. Then garments, this is a long sleeve, long length jacket, complete with pockets and trim. So I'll sign off and wish you all the best, and to stay safe and keep well, and look at other ideas to focus your mind away from what's happening, and bye and have fun.